The first time you arrive in Paris, it doesn't greet you with fanfare, it simply breathes. The city exhales a rhythm all its own, one you can feel before you even understand it. There's the low hum of conversation spilling from cafes where chairs face the street, as if everyone is watching life itself pass by. The distant melody of an accordion drifts through the air, mingling with the scent of fresh croissants and roasted coffee. The Seine glimmers beneath soft morning light, and you can hear footsteps echoing on cobblestones that have carried centuries of stories. For a moment, everything slows down. You're no longer a visitor, you're part of something timeless. You look around, bakeries already bustling, bicycles zipping past, a painter unpacking his canvas near the bridge, and realize that this city doesn't ask to be explored, it invites you to feel. That's the secret of Paris. It isn't just a place you see, it's a pulse you fall into. They call it La Ville Lumière, the city of light, but that light is more than just the glow of street lamps at dusk. It's the spark of creativity, romance, and rebellion that has lived here for centuries. Every corner whispers a story, every scent carries a memory, and every passerby seems to be chasing their own version of beauty. Whether you come here for art, love, or just to lose yourself in its rhythm, Paris finds a way to stay with you, long after your plane has left Charles de Gaulle. Paris lies gently along the Seine River, in the north-central heart of France, a city perfectly balanced between history and modernity. Seen from above, it spreads out like a mosaic of elegant avenues, bridges, and rooftops, stitched together by the river's graceful curves. The Seine isn't just a body of water, it's the artery of Paris, connecting neighborhoods, lives, and centuries. On one side, the left bank hums with artists, dreamers, and writers. On the other, the right bank gleams with fashion houses, grand boulevards, and the pulse of modern commerce. For France, Paris is more than a capital, it is the soul of the nation. Politics may be debated in its grand halls, but it's in the cafes, galleries, and theaters where France truly defines itself. Ideas that once shaped revolutions and art movements were born right here, carried through the same narrow streets you can walk today. From literature to cuisine, fashion to philosophy, Paris radiates influence like light from a chandelier, subtle yet unmistakable. But its significance stretches beyond borders. To the world, Paris is a symbol of romance, of creativity, of elegance that feels effortless. It's the city that gave us haute couture, impressionism, café culture, and perhaps most importantly, the idea that beauty matters. To visit Paris isn't just to see France. It's to experience the essence of civilization expressed through art, architecture, and human connection. Long before Paris became a global capital, it was a humble settlement on an island in the middle of the Seine. Around 250 BC, a Celtic tribe called the Parisiites built their village on what is now the Isle de la Cite, the very heart of the city today. When the Romans arrived, they named it Lutetia, and soon it became a bustling center of trade and governance. The ancient stones beneath Notre Dame still whisper of those early days, when Paris was more river than city, more dream than empire. Over centuries, the city transformed with each era's ambition. The Middle Ages crowned Paris with Gothic masterpieces like Notre Dame Cathedral and Sainte-Chapelle, symbols of faith and craftsmanship that still stun visitors with their stained glass light. By the 17th and 18th centuries, Paris had grown into the seat of kings. Louis XIV's court at Versailles radiated opulence. But within the city walls, ideas of equality and liberty were quietly taking root. Then came 1789. The French Revolution erupted, forever reshaping not just France, but the world's understanding of freedom and power. In the 19th century, Baron Haussmann redesigned the city into the Paris we know today: broad boulevards, uniform facades, elegant symmetry. These were not just aesthetic choices, they were statements of a new social order, a city reborn from turmoil into grace. The 20th century brought 2 world wars, yet Paris endured, resisting, rebuilding, reinventing. By the time the Eiffel Tower rose for the 1889 World Exposition, many had called it ugly, temporary, absurd. Today it stands as the ultimate emblem of French spirit, bold, defiant, and eternal. Through every age, Paris has rewritten itself. not to forget its past, but to remind the world that beauty and resilience can coexist. The city's story isn't carved only in monuments. It's alive in the cafes that once hosted Picasso and Hemingway, in the jazz clubs that played through wartime, and in the quiet pride of Parisians who carry centuries of history with casual grace. To understand Paris, you have to slow down. The city doesn't reveal itself to those in a hurry. It rewards the ones who pause, who watch, who listen. Walk into any Parisian cafe on a weekday morning, and you'll see life unfolding like a quiet play. A man in a scarf stirs his espresso while reading Le Monde. A couple debates softly over flaky croissants, and an elderly woman smiles at her tiny dog perched proudly on a wicker chair. This is not routine, it's ritual. The Parisian way of life is anchored in art de vivre, the art of living. It's a philosophy more than a habit, savoring each moment, finding beauty in simplicity, refusing to rush through life. The French have mastered the balance between passion and poise. They may argue politics with intensity, but they'll do it with a glass of wine in hand and time to spare for laughter. That's what makes Parisians so fascinating. They care deeply about how they live, not just what they achieve. Culturally, Paris is a theater of creativity. From the street musicians playing under the arches of Pont Neuf to the contemporary dancers performing in hidden courtyards, expression is everywhere. Artists and dreamers have always found refuge here. In Montmartre, you can still sense the ghosts of Picasso, Modigliani, and Renoir. In Saint-Germain-des-Prés, jazz melodies once filled smoky rooms where Sartre and Simone de Beauvoir debated philosophy into the night. Even today, that intellectual heartbeat remains, alive in bookstores, film festivals, and art collectives that stretch across the city. And yet, beneath the sophistication, there's warmth. Parisians may seem reserved at first, but they live with quiet passion. They love conversation, good food, and the small rituals that make ordinary days feel meaningful. Here, beauty isn't decoration, it's a way of being. It's in how they dress, how they greet each other with a gentle bonjour, how they linger a little longer at the table just to talk. Paris is elegance not as luxury, but as lifestyle, and everyday poetry written by its people. If Paris has a language of its own, it is spoken through food. Every meal feels like a love letter, written in butter, wine, and delicate layers of pastry. In the morning, the scent of freshly baked bread escapes from boulangeries as the city awakens. Locals line up not for speed, but for perfection, a still warm baguette with a crisp crust and soft heart, paired with a café au lait and the gentle murmur of the street outside. Breakfast here isn't about fuel, it's about pleasure. By noon, brasseries come alive. Plates of steak frites sizzle beside glasses of Bordeaux, and servers in white aprons move with practiced grace. Lunch in Paris is never rushed. It's a pause in the day, an invitation to sit, to taste, to live. And as the evening deepens, the city turns intimate. Candlelight flickers on small tables, wine bottles breathe slowly, and dishes arrive like small celebrations. Perhaps it's coq au vin, tender chicken simmered in red wine, or a bowl of steaming onion soup beneath a golden crust of cheese. For something lighter, there's ratatouille, a humble Provençal stew that embodies the French respect for simple, honest ingredients. And then, of course, dessert. Parisian pâtisseries are temples of craftsmanship, each éclair, macaron, and millefeuille a miniature masterpiece. Le Durie and Pierre Herme have elevated the macaron into an art form, where each flavor, from rose to salted caramel, feels like a secret whispered on your tongue. Don't leave without trying a classic crème brûlée, cracking its caramel top to reveal the silky custard below, or a slice of tarte tatin, caramelized apples still warm from the oven. What's remarkable about Parisian cuisine is not just the taste, but the philosophy behind it. Food here is not something to consume. It's something to experience. Even a simple picnic by the Seine, with a baguette, a wedge of brie, and a bottle of wine, can feel like the finest meal in the world. For travelers, this is the ultimate lesson Paris offers, that life, like food, should be savored, never rushed. Paris is a city that never runs out of postcards. Every corner seems designed for memory, the kind that lingers long after your return home. Of course, there are the icons you can't miss. The Eiffel Tower rising above the Champ de Mars, shimmering at night like a constellation of gold. The Louvre, a palace of art that could swallow days of your time. And the Arc de Triomphe, standing proud at the end of the Champs-Élysées, where history meets motion. Yet, to truly know Paris, you must step beyond the famous frames. Start your day at Montmartre, the Hill of Artists. As you climb its narrow, cobbled streets, you can almost hear echoes of the painters and poets who once called it home. The white domes of Sacré-Cœur crown the skyline, offering one of the most breathtaking views of the city. Nearby, Place du Tertre still hums with creativity. Easels open, brushes dancing, as artists sketch visitors beneath the morning sun. But Paris reveals its heart in the quieter corners. Wander through Le Marais, where medieval streets hide trendy boutiques, falafel shops, and art galleries tucked inside old mansions. Cross the river to the Latin Quarter, where history feels alive in every step. Ancient bookshops like Shakespeare and Company still stand, inviting dreamers and travelers to get lost among their pages. If you crave peace, head to the Luxembourg Gardens. Sit by the fountain, watch children sail toy boats, and listen to the wind brushing through the chestnut trees. Here, time itself seems to slow down. And then there are the hidden gems, the ones Parisians keep to themselves. The Canal Saint-Martin, lined with leafy walkways and iron bridges, is where locals picnic and lovers stroll hand in hand at dusk. The covered passages, like Galerie Vivienne, transport you to the 19th century, their glass ceilings glowing with nostalgia. For an unexpected escape, explore the Petite Cincha, an abandoned railway turned secret garden, where wildflowers now bloom where trains once ran. In Paris, beauty isn't locked inside museums or monuments. It lives in movement, in discovery. The best moments often come unplanned. Turning a corner to find a violinist playing by the Seine, or catching the reflection of sunset in a rain puddle. That's the true magic of this city. It doesn't demand attention. It earns it, quietly, beautifully, every single day. Visiting Paris is not just about seeing. It's about knowing how to move, when to pause, and where to let yourself get lost. The city may appear grand and intimidating at first, but once you find its rhythm, it feels like an old friend. Timing, as in all things Parisian, makes all the difference. The best months to visit are from April to June or September to early November, when the weather is gentle, the crowd's thinner, and the city wears a quieter charm. Spring brings cherry blossoms to the parks, while autumn paints the boulevards in golden leaves. When it comes to getting around, forget taxis unless absolutely necessary. Paris is a city meant to be walked. Each street corner, each tiny alley offers a new discovery, so lace up comfortable shoes. For longer distances, the metro is your best ally. It's efficient, safe, and connects nearly every corner of the city. Buy a Navigo Easy card for unlimited daily or weekly travel. It will save you both time and money. For the romantics, cycling along the Seine or through cobblestone districts with a rented velo bike is a memory you'll never forget. Paris can fit almost any budget, but planning helps. A decent meal at a bistro might cost €20, €30 per person, while a coffee on a terrace will set you back around €4. If you want to save, skip tourist-heavy spots and eat where the locals do. Look for Formule du Midi lunch menus, where you can get 2 or 3 courses for under €20. Museums often have free entry on the first Sunday of the month, and for those under 26, many attractions offer discounts or even free admission. Accommodation ranges from charming boutique hotels in Saint-Germain to budget hostels near Gare du Nord. If you're staying longer, consider renting an apartment through trusted platforms. Living like a local is part of the magic. And while Parisians are often portrayed as aloof, a simple bonjour and a polite smile go a long way. It's not about perfect French, it's about respect. Above all, let go of the checklist. Don't try to see everything, see deeply instead. Sit by the Seine with a book. Watch the city wake up with a croissant in hand. Visit a neighborhood market and chat with the cheesemonger. The real Paris isn't something you check off an itinerary. It's something you feel when you stop chasing it. When the sun dips below the rooftops of Paris, the city exhales in gold. The last light fades over the Seine, and one by one, the lamps flicker to life. wrapping the boulevards in a soft amber glow. It's as if Paris saves its truest self for the night. When the crowds thin, the air cools, and everything feels more intimate, more alive. Take an evening stroll along the riverbanks. The water mirrors the shimmering city lights, bridges reflected like brushstrokes across a living canvas. Couples lean against the rails, whispering softly, while street musicians play tunes that drift lazily into the night. The Eiffel Tower, now glittering in 1,000 lights, stands like a heartbeat in the dark, steady, luminous, eternal. The cafes shift their rhythm as night deepens. The chatter grows softer, laughter spills through open doors, and candles replace sunlight. In the Latin Quarter, you might catch jazz floating from a cellar bar, or in Montmartre, see artists still sketching under the street lamps. The city doesn't sleep, it dreams with its eyes open. Somewhere near Pigalle, neon signs hum while friends gather over wine and music. In Saint-Germain, poets and students linger under the same stars that watched over Sartre and Gainsbourg. There's something cinematic about Paris after dusk. The reflections on rain-soaked pavements, the perfume of fresh crepes at a midnight stand, the faint sound of an accordion around a corner. It feels less like a city, more like a memory unfolding in real time. And maybe that's why Paris is called the City of Light, not just for its illumination, but for its spirit. The night doesn't dim Paris, it reveals it. Every glow, every shadow, every quiet heartbeat of this city reminds you that beauty doesn't always shout. Sometimes it simply shines. Paris may look poised and elegant, but behind that sophistication lies a collection of charming quirks, little secrets that make the city feel alive and human. For instance, did you know there isn't a single stop sign in all of Paris? Not one. The flow of traffic depends on mutual awareness and trust, a very Parisian concept, where even chaos seems to move with grace. Then there's the Eiffel Tower, the city's proudest symbol, which was once almost torn down. When it was built for the 1889 World's Fair, many Parisians hated it. Famous writers and artists called it a monstrous black smokestack and demanded its removal. Gustave Eiffel himself had to defend it fiercely, claiming it would become an icon of modern engineering. A century later, it's impossible to imagine the skyline without it, a reminder that beauty is often misunderstood before it's adored. Another little secret, beneath your feet lies another world. The catacombs of Paris stretch for over 200 miles, a labyrinth of tunnels lined with the bones of 6 million souls. What began as a solution to overflowing cemeteries in the 18th century has become a hauntingly beautiful reminder of mortality and memory. Walking there, among skulls stacked in perfect symmetry, you realize how deep Paris truly runs, not just above ground, but within its very foundations. And if you look closely, Paris has its sense of humor too. In one of the oldest bakeries near Rue de Rivoli, there's a croissant law. Technically, every croissant labeled artisanal must be rolled and shaped by hand, not machine. It's an unspoken commitment to craft, to authenticity, to the idea that even something as simple as pastry deserves devotion. These small details, odd, poetic, unexpected, are what make Paris endlessly fascinating. Behind every perfect facade is a story, behind every rule a little rebellion. The city thrives on paradox. Old yet modern, orderly yet spontaneous, serious yet playful. Perhaps that's why, once you leave, you can never truly stop thinking about it. Paris lingers not as a postcard, but as a whisper that keeps calling you back. As the night fades and the first light stretches over the rooftops of Paris, the city feels reborn once again. The cafes open their doors, the smell of fresh bread returns to the streets, and the Seine begins to shimmer like it's waking from a dream. You realize something profound. Paris doesn't just exist in time, it exists in feeling. Every sound, every scent, every glance is part of an invisible rhythm that makes you feel both foreign and at home, all at once. To walk through Paris is to walk through layers of humanity, through centuries of art, rebellion, beauty, and love. You might come here to see its famous landmarks, but you leave with something far deeper, a sense of connection, a quiet understanding of why the world still looks to this city for inspiration. It's not because Paris is perfect, It's because it reminds us that imperfection can still be beautiful, that a chipped stone wall, a crooked street, or a rainy afternoon can hold as much poetry as a cathedral. And when you finally leave, you carry it with you. The glow of the street lamps, the echo of music by the Seine, the taste of wine and laughter under a Parisian sky. That's the thing about this city. It never really says goodbye. It lingers, like a melody you can't forget, waiting for the day you'll return. If this journey through the city of light has sparked something in you, curiosity, wonder, or simply the desire to explore, then join us again. The world is full of cities with their own rhythm, their own stories, their own light. And here, on my city journey, we'll keep discovering them, one soul-stirring story at a time. So, until our next adventure, au revoir, and may Paris stay with you wherever you go.